Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com. In today's podcast, I wanted to talk about an associate partner's salary. And I wanted to talk about this because we got information out of Australia from PwC of what the lowest level partner makes. And the number was 340,000. So an associate partner is the lowest level of partner in most of the Big Four accounting firms. So as an associate partner in Australia, you can expect $340,000. And that would be pretty similar in other locations. Obviously, in the US and UK, it would be higher. The UK would be highest. We don't have necessarily the lowest level band for UK. We have averages, which you can see on our Big Four partner salary page that I'll put in the show notes. But we also got more information out of Australia Financial Review, where they said there's the lowest level partners average was around 380,000, and that was in a previous article they had done. But the lowest level was 340,000. And you compare that to the highest level directors that were in the high 200,000s, almost 300,000. They can be pretty close. The only difference is that the average senior manager, director, managing director, whatever you want to call them, is not going to earn $270,000. That's an exception, and they've probably been there a long time, and they don't really want to be a partner. But you can get there if you just stick around long enough and you don't want to be a partner. And is it worth it? I think in a lot of ways it can be worth it, but the thing that differentiates it is the bonuses, which they did not disclose. Because if you're not an equity partner, then you wouldn't be getting high bonuses. You'd get high bonuses, but not as big as the partners are going to receive. You're not going to participate in humongous bonuses. So the lowest level is 340,000. So in the US, it's probably around $400,000. And that's what you can expect as an associate partner. And people want to figure that out because they want to figure out if it's worth it. But as I say on this podcast all the time, people always look at the end and think they're going to get there, but you have a whole career to get to. There's actually fast ways to get there. And I think I'm actually going to create a program that discusses the fastest way to get there and the fastest strategies to get there. But most people think they're going to end up there no matter what, and it's not. And it's not necessarily because you won't try. It's just all of the obstacles you have to face to get there. But as far as associate partners, it's a good level of pay. And another thing that the Australia Financial Review article showed was that the pay of partners of the Big Four accounting firms is similar to CFOs in large companies. And that's just based on the numbers. It's a fact because the partners make so much money. But it's the nature of the business of Big Four accounting firms because you work around the clock. You're professional. You have credentials. You work on some of the largest companies in the world. So it makes sense. You have the same level of stress as a CFO. And the other thing too is the Big Four accounting firms have to make it so that you stay, because if they didn't pay partners what they pay them, then those partners would become CFOs or high-level executives in those large organizations. So that's why the pay is similar. And you can level set your expectations along that, and the level of technical expertise you gain over the years has to be at such a high level that being paid above 300,000 as an associate partner is reasonable. But if you want to learn the details of an associate partner salary, make sure to check out our website. We'll put a link in the show notes, so make sure to check that out. But also, what does this salary release mean in the industry? Does it mean there's going to be more disclosure around pay. And I think there will be. I think it'll be internally. I think there's a lot of disclosure of pay, and there's going to be, but publicly, I think it's going to improve, but I don't know how much more they're going to disclose. And then another thing is that the big four accounting firms are also starting to talk about inflation. Not necessarily calling it inflation, but they talk about raised expenses. These are wages, right? And that's the reason they disclose these partner salaries, is because they're competing for employees and salaries. And so these wages are going up, and the big four accounting firms are going to have to raise their rates to cover the costs. And at some point, that's going to meet lower demand. So it's going to get interesting how long this higher pay can last. But as long as there's not enough employees to meet the big four accounting firms' labor demands, pay is going to continue to rise. Pay is going to continue to be good. And we'll just have to keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on the disclosures, analyze it, provide it to you guys. But I still don't see any downtrends in pay. I haven't really seen that much talk about decreasing salary at all from the big four accounting firms. So that's really good news coming out of all this. But we'll make sure to keep an eye on it and keep you updated. But that's the podcast for today. Make sure to check out the show notes, and also make sure to subscribe to this podcast. Thanks for listening.